and we are blessed to have our brother here, Mr. Orlando, Engineer Orlando Tiablo of TIA Innovation Technology. All right, and last week was an introduction to the tools, and I believe we are going even deeper today. All right, in just 30 seconds, I want us to share the reminders to people all around. Let's share the reminder to people on our platforms. All right, there are people that need this, all right, and we are not organizing this because we don't have something to do. All right, we are organizing this because of our understanding of the stage of life many people have and what they need, all right, to solve some of the problems that they have. All right, so without further ado, I would like to hand over to Engineer Orlando Tiablo. Engineer Orlando, please over to you.
Okay, can you hear me, and also can you see me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, good morning, MCC, and to everyone following this program at about this time. So on last Friday, we started with a little bit of introduction. I think we don't have to go through that today, and we talked basically about these things that you have to be very careful as to the material you get from AI system. You have to be able to cross-check and cross-examine everything that you get from online before you incorporate them into your research. With a case study that happened this year. And also we get feedback from you as to your knowledge on these different products or services. Regardless of whatever you are doing, you need to have the basics on just the operation of these things. Most especially Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, the internet. You need to have the basic knowledge about them. And we try to ask for your level. Are you sending one between 1 to 10 with the lowest and the highest values? We also introduce some AI tools or websites that can be very helpful for your research. And I'm sure many of us have heard about ChatGPT, the number one there on that list. Colab, I don't know how many of us hear about it. Bing also, maybe few people have. Lucy app, you can use it for diagrams. Colab, you can use it for basically running your programs. It can be about deep learning or neural networks. It can also be just any kind of a code. You can also use the Colab to do that. The Gemini, you can also use it as similar to ChatGPT. Connected papers, many you want to find papers that are related to that paper you have already found. So maybe you found a paper on Christian exploration. So connected paper just going to give you sources or other papers that are talking about similar thing. Copilot, we'll talk about it basically today. It's another powerful tools that probably some of you have used or you still using. And then on the first day, we talk about SoundSpace and how we can be able to explore that platform and making a maximum use when it comes to our research. Also, we also have other versions here. But most importantly, on this list for today, I want us to look at number 13, Google Scholar. Their ResearchGate, their IEEE, GitHub, ScienceDirect, Overleaf, Grammarly, and all these guys, they are very, very helpful and very, very useful for our research. I don't know how many of you, if you're following and you have tried to maybe go and make a search about any of these lists or any of these tools, just let us know in the chat box if you actually make use of any of these guys over the last week, or if you even try to access any of them. So last week we talked on ScienceSpace to see how we can use it and why it is useful. So before we move forward, we talked about this last week with a little bit of demonstration on the platform or system. So if you are there and you actually did something, you had to register after we left the program, please send a 1 in the chat box if you actually revisit this website or make use of it or register with it after we talk about it. Yeah, for the most part, everything there is free for the most part, except you want to do something very complicated also, but the most part, everything there is free. You don't have to pay money to register. You don't have to pay money to initially start using it. So we have 2 persons that at least have tried to make use of what we talked about it last time. It's very important because if you want to do a review paper, it takes time. There's so much time involved. So if you have not followed through last week, the videos are out there on YouTube. The PPT in form of a PDF also was shared. You can also ask the pastor, and then he's going to give you access to these things. I'm sure you already talked about how you can also get access to them. So please, it's important that you follow through because the time is limited, and if you aren't following through with this, it's going to be very difficult for all of us. So today we're going to talk about review papers. How can we write review papers? I think it's one of the main messages that the pastor have sent across to all of us, that at the end of this section or these sections, we should at least be able to start our review paper or complete our review paper and all of that. So how can we, now that we have introduced the different AI tools and systems, how can we then start or talk about the review paper? How can we go about it? As a researcher, it's very important that you take notice of these things. When you submit a paper to the journal has people, call them reviewers. These reviewers, they are random. Somebody could be in China, somebody could be in Liberia, somebody could be in the US. They are random. They don't even know each other. Even the journal don't know probably these people. They just send them emails. As long as you are probably published with that journal before, they're also going to email you if you already have a published work with them. They're going to email you that we have this paper, and then we would like if you can serve as a reviewer on this paper. So the reviewers, they are all in different areas. They don't know each other. So these are different things that they consider from 1 to 10. But it's important to know that the beauty of this review paper is it does the hard work. Imagine somebody telling you that the beauty of the man is that he gives so much work to the lady. He considered that as a beauty. Or maybe the beauty of the woman is that she gives the man so much work. Somebody might not really see that as a beauty, that you allow them to work a lot. So review paper, the beauty of it is that it does the hard work. Hard work of what? Of research that has been done on a particular topic. So if you're writing a review paper, you are basically summarizing, critiquing almost everything that has been done probably over a certain period of time within a specific domain. So maybe some of you here, you are medical doctors, or some of you here, you are doing computer science, you are doing businesses, you are doing different things. If you want to write a review paper, it's different from just a regular article or publication. A review paper is very, very complex and complicated because you have to do a lot. There's so much research need to be done into that. But let's assume that you finish all these things and you submit a paper to the journal for them to check it before it is published. These are things that the journal consider, and it's also important that we get a picture of what the journal also do, so that we can take consideration of them when we are writing our paper. As a reviewer, once they receive your paper, they try to understand the purpose of that paper and familiarize themselves with it. What is the essence of this research? A reviewer might ask himself or herself. So they try to evaluate the structure and the clarity of your paper, how well you're writing the paper and how clear it is. Clear in the diagrams, clear in the words and everything. They have to consider all of these things. Some journals have different structure of how they want their papers to be written. They want double column, some want single column, some want double column 14 pages, some want single column 8 pages. And it's important to also know that maybe the journal will also let you know if the journal page or pages requirement is from 1 to 14, and your entire paper is basically 15 pages, you will have to pay for that page number 15. Sometimes they charge for the single page, an additional single page. Maybe you're going to pay 20, you're going to pay 50, you're going to pay $100 for the single page. So if they give you a range, you have to also work within that range. The next thing here, they're going to evaluate your research method, because this method you are proposing, you might not be the first person. Maybe you're just trying to modify certain things, but then somebody else have already done that. So if your method is not comparable or is not better than those that have already published, then the chances of your paper being accepted, because the method is one of the main part or the main part of your paper. So if you don't have a good methodology, then it's going to be a problem. So you want to make sure that you are giving the world something new, something not technically new, because there is nothing new under the sun, but something like different, unique from what someone else has done. And also they're going to check the discussions and conclusion of your paper, the result and analysis of your paper. They're going to check all of these things to make sure that they are of relevance. So your result and analysis, when you are doing them, you also have to know that this is one of the key points that the reviewer is going to check. So I need to be very careful. And also the conclusion. And then after that, they're going to make some ethical consideration, verify your references and citations. So if you are quoting somebody or citing somebody or the work in your paper, you have to be very careful, because the reviewers might cross-check all of these references. And sometimes they might even add additional references. Like one of the papers that we submitted on yesterday came back with a minor revision. So there are 3 different reviewers. 2 of them agree for the paper to be published, and then one of them said that we should go through a minor revision, and then he gives the reason why they should go through that revision. He just want to also add additional references that he think might be helpful. So even though 2 persons agree for the paper to be published, the journal have to also consider the 3rd person that call for the minor revision of our paper. So we have to add those references there and also make reference, add the other things that reviewer want. So it's very important to take note of these things. But then let's now look at how to carry out the literature review of our paper, because the literature review is by far the most important thing. We might have the idea, but then In our paper, we also have to cite different sources. We also have to talk about what other people have done within that area of our research. And how can we know about what someone else has done? Maybe in 2022, somebody else published a paper that was already talking about that thing, but you don't know. Maybe your ideas have already been published. You don't know. So during the literature review, you are going to discover basically what other people have done over the specific period of time and understand their method, understand probably their weaknesses and all of that in a research, then you can also build on that. So the literature review is very important. But then this literature review can be categorized basically into two. One is a systemic review, and another one is a representative review. For the systemic review, it is basically comprehensive. You have to do a lot of work. It takes a whole lot of work. It's time consuming as well. You have to basically try to cover every other relevant sources across that specific area. So the systemic review is very, very difficult and is very, very time consuming. So when you are wanting to do your review paper, you have to know what kind of review paper that you want to get into. But it's also beneficial, it's also worthy to go through the process, the difficult one, because once it is published, you gain much relevance and your work become very, very important to other people. Let's take a look at some other review papers and see how actually a review paper looks. So for the review paper, you will have a whole lot of things there to do. You can see here the number of pages is 38. The number of pages here is 38. So it's different from just a regular research paper that might have maybe 8 pages, 10 pages, 11 pages, maximum of 14 pages, or if the person is actually paying for the extra pages. But for the review paper, it has a lot of pages, a whole lot of pages. Even if you come down to the references, you see that they have to cover a whole lot of references in this work. A whole lot of references have to be covered or were covered in this work, because you are basically summarizing almost everything that other people have done within this specific domain or field of study. A normal article or research paper will not have this much of a references. A normal article or publication will not have this number of pages. If you are submitting this number of pages, that means you have a lot of money to give the journal. Let's also take a look at this one. Similar thing as well. So you can see for this journal, their style of writing or the format that they want. You can see how it looks for the first two papers that we have checked. Let's check this one and see probably how this other one looks. You can see here is much different from what the other two paper looks like. The style, everything here is different. The style, everything is different. So for different journals, you will have different style of writing and all of that. You have single column, you have a double column, but this one you can see is a single column as well. And the number of pages here is around 21. There are a lot of citations that were done for this paper as well. All of those red numbers you're seeing there, they are all different works that has been done with let's say over the period. So they even started from this person who was the first person to propose something on this particular method. So you might want to check with all other works that have been done, and how do you go about checking all these works that have been done over the period of time? You have to make use of something called a library. You have to make use of the library. So when we talk about the library, we are basically talking about where the similar thing you have with your school. There are online libraries as well. So the library determines the place that you can go to find all of these resources. Maybe you might be asking yourself, but where can I actually get all these papers? Where can I maybe know about some authors? How can I see their work? How can I cite their work? So you have to make use of online libraries. There are a whole lot of them. You can see all those names that are there. They are most of them, or the majority of them, those different names are them. But then the library is basically, you use it to conduct the literature search. So all of the literature review that you will be doing, where are you going to get those papers? You are getting the papers from the library, the online library. It can be any of these guys, but most of what people use, or you might find very widely used, is one called the Google Scholar. Now let's take a look at the Google Scholar to see how we can use it, or what actually it is used for. Okay, so this guy I don't want to open here. Let's see. Let me just show you also yesterday, this paper. You can see here, this paper came back with a minor regression. It came back with minor regression. And if we scroll down here, we can see all of the feedback from the reviewers. So reviewer number one, his recommendation is for the paper to be accepted. And he also answered different other questions. Do you think this paper is relevant? Do you think this paper is easy to read? Do you think this paper is sound? Like so many questions the journal is going to allow them to answer. And then the second review as well, his recommendation is for people to be accepted. Also, he also have to answer some of these questions. And the very last guy, this last guy said that minor regression. So because of this guy, this paper was not published. So I have to go through this minor regression. And these are things that he wants us to add to the paper. He feels like these references, or these 10 points, are very important. So we have to add these 10 references there and talk about these references. So until we can do that, he's not yet convinced. So we have to work on it. And basically, that's what we're going to be doing for that paper to be accepted. So let me just find a way here to open up this guy. You can really see this. Okay. Let's explore and see how this Google Scholar works. So I don't want to. So you can just come here and you search for Google Scholar, and then you can make use of the first link. Okay, so we are here at Google Scholar. There you can be able to now search based on the author, or you can also search based on the title of that paper. Let's say, for example, we are looking for this author. We want to get all of the work of this author. So you can see these are different works from this author. And easily you can just come here to cite this work. You can use any of these versions or ways to cite them, and you can just take it directly into your work. So it's easier for you to just cite or to write dissertation of this particular paper and for this particular author. So you can use it to check for different topics. Maybe what can we check about? We can also check for yeah, so we can also find different works. From here, we can find PDF, you can find maybe some people theses or dissertation. You can also find review papers, conference papers. You can find a whole lot. You can also customize the range. You want to check from maybe 20, you want to check from 2012 to 2024. Then they can also be able to sort out all of these results for you from that range or from that length of time. Maybe you need to get latest, work. So maybe you can narrow your range from 2020 to 2024 to get recent papers or recent work that has been done within this area of image processing. So that's Google Scholar. There are a whole lot of other guys out there that we can use, but this one is very important as well. Let's get back to our PPT here. And next thing is we want to also follow some other things here as well. So when we are gathering all of these sources, it's important that we just read at least the abstract of those specific papers. And we also make use of that Sunspace the first day to see how we can make use or just summarize the entire paper. We can just get a contribution of it. We can get the method used when we use the Sunspace. That's what I asked, how many people have actually made use of that? Because if you have that Sunspace, then the abstract and everything, you don't have to go and keep searching or scanning for them. We're just going to give you a summary of it. So once you see the summary of that abstract, you know that, yes, this is something that I've already looked out. And I think it's very important for my research because the abstract basically have 3 W's and 1 H. So when it suggests to write the abstract when the rough draft of your research paper is already completed. It's suggested to write the abstract around this time. Why you should read it? Because the abstract is written to get a brief understanding of the entire research paper. Once somebody see the abstract of the paper, it gives them an entire understanding about that paper or what that paper is actually doing. So the abstract is a summary of your entire work. So once somebody see your paper or you want to read your paper, you just make use of the abstract and then you can also understand better what this person have done. The abstract can be structured in different ways or structure or the descriptive way or the informative way. So you might, based on the journal as well. So these are things that we also have to look out for. And lastly, if time permits us, we're going to look at Copilot. With this guy, we can be able to do a whole lot. Copilot accelerates this whole process. Maybe we might also be wondering, since we have a lot of work, a lot of reviews to do, how can we go about them faster? So Copilot, one of the AI tools or website for our research, it can do a whole lot of things, from programming to just basic literature review and all of that. So it accelerates this process. Copilot assists by exploring different libraries. So you might be searching on maybe Google Scholar as your online library, but then maybe that paper or that thing you are looking for is not on Google Scholar or has not been uploaded to Google Scholar. So with Copilot, Copilot is going to summarize or basically go and search on your behalf. So it's like you having a brainstorming partner who thinks outside the box. So he's going to search everywhere on the internet, all the libraries. He's going to search to find where that paper is or where that thing you are looking for, where it is. So it's going to give you a summary of of those things. That's what Copilot does. We can use it to analyze our paper and all of that. Let me take you now to it and see. So I think we have 4 minutes left, but let me just take you there shortly and then we can call it a day. So for example, we have this paper open. And many of you, I think you have Microsoft Edge browser. It mostly work better in Microsoft Edge browser. And especially for some of you also that are doing, you also be dealing with some other Chinese documents. You can also make use of the translation aspect of it. You can make use of the translation aspect of the work. Once it's in Chinese, you can just copy it directly. Once you copy it, you can change the language that you want it in. Maybe you want it to be in just whatever language. It's just going to do that for you. Maybe you want it in Chinese. Now you're going to get the Chinese version of it. It's very easy. You can also use it for translation. But most importantly for now, if you come here in the upper right corner, you will see this guy here. This is the Copilot. So with this, I can be able to interact directly with this PDF as well. The similar thing that we did with the ScienceSpace. I can directly interact with this PDF and ask questions about this PDF and say, what is the abstract of this paper? So it's going to analyze this entire paper and give us the abstract of it. We can also discuss, we can tell you to analyze figures or tables or different graphs. You can tell it to explain. Maybe you don't understand what figure 2 is doing. You want to get a clear understanding of figure 2. Maybe you have some mathematical terms or you have some other things. You want to understand that figure. You can also tell it to explain that figure. So this is the abstract. You have already getting the abstract for us. So we can just read this abstract and then we know actually this is something very important, or we want to see probably what they have done and then how we can modify it. We can also tell it to explain figure 2 in simple English. We can try to explain figure 2 in simple English, maybe for us to make it much more easier for it to understand. We can just get the, but this, you don't have to do this. It will actually understand what figure 2 is from this paper. But we can try to explain figure 2 in simple English. Maybe you have so many formulas. You can even try to explain formulas. You can tell it to explain any other thing that this paper has. It's going to explain that for you as well. So you can see here, it's explaining everything. As you can see, the cover image, what is cover image actually doing. So with reference to what this paper talk about the cover image and all of these features, is going to also inject those things from the paper. And as it's explaining, it's going to bring all these things. So the cover image is here. Everything within this diagram is explaining them bit by bit. So you understand what is the cover image. You understand what is the DCT transform, the quantization, the secret code, everything. You understand everything about this figure. So you can make use of it. Maybe that paper, you're not good at mathematics, but then you are dealing with a paper that has so many formulas and you want to get yourself around it. You can make use of this guy. So for the sake of time, I'm going to stop here. If you have any question or concern, you can ask. If not, then we can call it a day. Thank you so much for listening.
All right. Thank you so much, Engineer Orlando. And I believe that we have all been empowered. With some of us may know these things before, all right, but I believe there's quite a number of persons that need this information. All right, please, what do we say to Engineer Orlando? Let's show our love, let's show our appreciation. All right, I believe that fire is fire of love. All right, thank you, Engineer Orlando. Actually, I would like to encourage everyone, I mean, especially the researchers, whether postgraduates that are doing research, all right, just dedicate, especially this holiday, to put these things to use, all right, on your papers, on your thesis or your work, put them to use, all right, while the memory is still fresh, all right, put them to use and make progress towards your reinvention bootcamp goals. All right, so for those that are joining us the first time, you're welcome to Reinvention Bootcamp. And today we had a session on AI tools for research writing with Engineer Olano. The Reinvention Bootcamp is a total package to address our needs, even as we go about our daily lives. On Monday, we have purpose. On Tuesday, we have wisdom. On Wednesday, we have love, dating, and marriage. On Thursday, we have career success. And on Friday, we have projects. And on Saturday, we have School of the Spirit. And on Sunday, which is just for our members, we have a School of Leadership. All right, so you are welcome to join us at any time. And Engineer Olano has put his information in case you have any question. Feel free to add him up and ask him the questions. All right, this is where we're going to call it a day. We want to say a very big thank you to everybody once again for joining us. Our resources are on Telegram and on our YouTube profile. All right, you can go to Telegram Mosaic Christian Community. You see all the resources there, as well as any other information that you need. Please, let's share the grace as we close. The grace of our Lord Jesus Christ, the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit rest and abide with us now and forevermore. Amen. Surely, His goodness and mercy are us.
O Lord, all the days of our life, and we shall dwell in the Lord forever. In Jesus' name.
Shalom, shalom, family.